Palestine. Still Babylon and keep pressuring. Hey, no. It's a conspiracy. Police are inform and search for me. Yo, it's a conspiracy. Them say Rasta move armed and dangerously. Hey, it's a conspiracy. Police are inform and search for me. Yo, it's a conspiracy. Them say Rasta move armed and dangerously. Yo, well enough detective them a send to me hustle round the ends. Them a look me for some interrogation. Them a pressure all my friends and a look for evidence just to determine my location. Them a call me terrorists and use them satellite dish and try to seek out my ganja plantation. Just to man a herbalist, a man them most wanted this, they want to lock me down through my occupation. It's a conspiracy. Police are inform and search for me. Yo, it's a conspiracy. Them say Rasta move armed and dangerously. Hey, it's a conspiracy. Police are inform and search for me. Yo, it's a conspiracy. Them say Rasta move armed and dangerously. Cause them a patrol the streets, see them there on every corner, they trying to hunt me down. And them a tap me phone and trace me cellular number, they trying to hunt me down. Because 24/7 them a investigate. Informer a look a little food for them plate. Police are inform about how the weed circulate. Them want know how me cash flow a get generate. Everything me possess me see them want confiscate. But them kind of thing Rasta not tolerate. Me and them can't reason now, we just can't debate. Cause them can't stop the herbs man a quake. Hey. It's a conspiracy. Police are inform and search for me. Yo, it's a conspiracy. Them say Rasta move armed and dangerously. Hey, it's a conspiracy. Police are inform and search for me. Yo, it's a conspiracy. Them say Rasta move armed and dangerously. Rise up today and see my face there on the front page. Sure. Them use them propaganda to tell the world I am a criminal. Hey. So I got to lay low. They make me have to keep a thing under my pillow. Yo, everything settled. All of them be ready long time. It's a conspiracy. Police are inform and search for me. Yo, it's a conspiracy. And them say Rasta move armed and dangerously. Hey, it's a conspiracy. Police are inform and search for me. Yo, it's a conspiracy. And them say Rasta move armed and dangerously. It's a conspiracy. Wow. You know, listen up. I say, it's a conspiracy. Tell the Babylon star fresh lyrics, you know. Sure. How do you mean?
Yo, we're coming out down here with the Babylon style. It's Tommy in Glasgow Radio Online is no more. Tommy Gold is no more. And I need to keep remembering because it's Thomas J. Clark. That's Thomas J. Clark the third from Celtic Community Radio. Going out to the planet. It's a conspiracy. Yes, tonight it's a conspiracy, alright. We asked the question, why was a ball allowed to be placed incorrectly, not even on the penalty spot? Already a decision for the penalty that was already dubious, and this a person whose brother was on the books as a junior for Rangers, who ended up playing for the 06 Northern Ireland. Yeah, Surrey. As a good person pointed out earlier on, probably that was his level anyway when he managed to play for Alba. But regardless, another clear case of bias, bigoted refereeing in Scotland. But it's okay. Label me as a paranoid Tim. I care not a jot. If you're a fellow paranoid Tim who was at the game today, why don't you phone up and give me a call? 0141 416 1888. Give me a call, Tommy in Glasgow. If you're anywhere on the planet, are you down under? G'day, mate. Put another shrimp in the barbie, or if you can't be bothered doing that nonsense, phone us on 03 9013 6767. If you're in Boston or outside it in the USA, 617 963 0967. Dublin 01 254 4567. And nice and slowly, for the hard of thinking and slow of study, for all the brain dead zombies, call me on 02 03 2 9 0 1690. There you go. Phone in, daft zombies, if you think you're hard enough. The second thoughts, don't bother. We can't be bothered with yous. So yeah, we're talking about conspiracies. Now, I watched a wonderful video there last week about Princess Diana. Princess Diana's death, the Alma Tunnel. Now this was in a day that I went out to go out for a night out. It was at the end of the month, start of the month, and it was mobbed. We couldn't get in anywhere. Me, my good lady, and her friend. And the baby, my oldest, who's a mad Tim, was a baby at the time. It was the first chance. My wife was breastfeeding at the time, so it was the first chance to get out there. But the tune was busy as usual. Went for a few drinks and then tried to get a nightclub. I went and bought, shame on me, I know, a News of the World that night. And it was a character assassination of Diana. How when she got back from her jaunt with Doddy, how she was going to be carpeted, how she was sullied the British monarchy, how she did this and that, and how, and reading into the article. And then, as I was sitting there about half two, there was actually pictures, and it wasn't in the paper. And I know my mind's not playing tricks with me. And when I watched the documentary, it mentioned that James Anderson, the photographer who drove a white Uno, is alleged that he filed pictures in with the press agency in Paris that night. So if he was involved in it, he would have been mobile. He wouldn't have waited about to see anything happen. He would have just went there and filed his pictures. Now on that night, as I read that paper, and the paper was changed instantly, because all the guff that they wrote against Diana, she was a tart, she was this and that, she was going to be a Muslim, she was an evil bitch, she did this, and she sullied the royal name. Real character assassination shit. And then boom, they changed it. Oh, the nation's princess. Couldn't believe the U-turn. And she was killed that night, you know. Best way to kill someone and not have the blame pointed at anyone is to make it look like an accident, a car crash. Perfect way to kill someone. Of a car crash. And they did that to her. And the documentary that I watched with the guy that it was I can't remember what it was called. Somebody, it was on the Twitter timeline last week. It's probably on the YouTube. I'll be able to find the name for it. But how she was killed. and then the lies and the cover-up. And that's what's needed at all levels to commit a cover-up. Lies, damn lies, and even more damn lies. And that's what Scottish football has existed on for numbers of years. The lies and cover-up. That would make a banana republic ashamed. So it's quite remarkable that would-be queens can be assassinated, presidents can be killed in broad daylight in Daly Plaza, and the old Sevco can cheat Scottish football for decades, if not for centuries, and get away with it. Jimmy Savile can get away with 40, 50 years of paedophilia and sex crimes. Then lo and behold, a dirty, rancid, bigoted zombie bastard called Jim Davidson, who I spotted coming out the shite house not so long ago, is now in the same frame of operation. I can't remember what the name of that operation is. However it's called anyway. Jim Davidson, the zombie, right-wing, bigoted halfwit. So it's a call out to any crackpot McDougalls out there on the planet. Give me a call. What's the matter with you? Don't be shy. Give it a try. This is Crackpot McDougal. This is live and direct. We're now talking conspiracy. This is a conspiracy hour. We're asking who killed Princess Diana. We're saying who killed John F. Kennedy, and who allows these dirty Masonic zombie bastard referees to run, excuse the language, these dirty Masonic illegitimi from the alpha to the omega, the beginning to the end. We have to expose these liars and deceitful storytellers to the maximum. And by the grace and beauty of God, He has allowed the technology to exist where instead of banging your heads against the wall like crackpots like me have done for years in phoning Radio Snide and other phone-ins, don't phone Radio Clyde, it's only one left. Let's bury this beast once and for all and create a new dawn. That's all we're asking for. And that's what Celtic Community Radio. We're asking you, the listener, to step up to the plate and make your own radio station. For 3-hour shows for as little as £11 a month, you can sit there and invite people to phone your show. You can play music, and it's all now designed in 5-10 years' time. This is a way to take it forward as a Celtic community. Blank them out, wipe them off your timeline, because they have told you lies, treated you like kids for years, treated us all like kids. So instead of banging our head against the wall, we can now expose how a referee, does anyone know what lodge this referee goes to? Because undoubtedly he must do. How can I say undoubtedly he must do? Well, I for one refuse to believe the cock and bull story of honest mistake. Honest mistake when we have documented evidence that a referee refereed matches with Rangers stockings on. A referee photographed auctioning off a Rangers top at a Masonic club, smiling like a big Cheshire cat. Now, you call me mad, this or that, a conspiratorial nutcase, whatever label you want to be pinned onto a crackpot like me, it's all fine and good. If it's there to deflate and deflect, to have a proper argument, then it's not all fine and good. And that's what it's there to do. To call someone crazy, crackpot, whatever, it's there to deflect it. I play along with that stupid game, but then they refuse to discuss the real issues. So we must address the real issues amongst ourselves. and develop new strategies and ways of combating their nonsense. And while it is a ploy and a good thing to do just to shut out Radio Snide, what we have to do is, by creating our own platform, by creating our own community, our own radio airborne community, it enables us to collectivise like nothing else. And so with this collectivisation, we don't go raising our pitchforks and marching on Hampden when it's shut. A bunch of daft zombies. We don't roam about like heedless chickens like vigilantes. No, we do proper intellectual programmes of education, self-education of ourselves. Look at all the experts out there who are now experts in finance and law, experts in so many different variety of subjects that for ordinary taxi drivers, bin men, and ordinary just Joe Schmo public, it's a way forward, a bit of self-education. The school system really didn't educate a lot of people. The one glove fits all society school system didn't certainly fit me. I had to educate myself by learning from the University of Life, and that's probably the best place to go about doing it, in my opinion anyway. And it's beautiful that you can wake up like I did last week and watch that documentary. I saw someone put it on Twitter, and it's about sharing information with each other, intellectualising each other, giving each other an education and discussing it and formulating ideas. This is how a democratic system evolved and worked in the communities. Unlike the loyalist 06 people, who, when they get a democratic vote and it goes against them, they throw their dummies out the pram. That's because they're not too far evolved from the Neanderthal knuckle dragon species, where their reptilian brain only knows the one reaction when it sees adversity, and that's to lash out like a headless chicken, or grab the pitchforks and march, singing "We Are the People" to Hampden when it's shut. To Hampden when it's shut. Hello? Right, who's giving me a call? Get off your fingers there, crackpots. Any use, mad? Right, North East boy, Aurora Celtic, here we go. Glasgow Loco, 416-1888. Right, you shitter. What are you all about? Crackpot McDougall's out there. Tell 10 to tell 10 to tell 10. I do not mind. I can sit here and talk for 3 hours, 5 hours, 10 hours, solid 12 hours. I care not a jot. I'll sit here and do it. I don't need anybody to phone and talk to me. I'm wired to the moon. I'm tuned on a plateau now that no other radio station can touch me. I've phoned them all. I can phone anyone at a drop of a hat. In fact, one of the reasons why I got the London number was to have more interaction with some London radio stations who seem not to have given up the ghost for some stimulating debate. But I can't even be bothered with some of these crackpots now. I feel more in tune to phone New Zealand or Australia and talk to some of these fangitas out there. Something different, I mean. Instead of brain dead zombies for this country. We really should learn other languages and talk to other people. Spanish. For the new year, I endeavoured to learn Spanish. And then lead on to learning Catalan. Yeah, Spanish is the way forward. I would recommend to do that from a mate from Catalonia. Learn Spanish first, because in Catalonia everyone speaks Spanish. And then Catalan after that. Makes sense. Yeah, it's one of I wish I had that knowledge of able to speak many languages. It's a wonderful gift. Come on, somebody who speaks another language apart from double Dutch or that I specialise in flannel juice and gibberish, give me a call. If I need to resort to phoning mad crackpots across the planet, then c'est la vie. The click of a button, God willing, it can be done. Thanks to the good brother. St. Sixtus, I see you're still on. Get on here, give me a call. Don't be shy, give it a try. Declan, I can see you're on. The parrot. Yes, sitting in the very spot where I am just now. I sat waiting for the parrot. Tick tock, tick tock, tick tock, tick tock. I was sitting chatting away, talking to a nice chap, Tony Cassidy, waiting for the Mr. Parrot. Tick tock, tick tock. And he jumps on a Glasgow Corpy bus. Ah, well, c'est la vie, as they say. You win some, you lose some. And I lost a chance to sit here with the parrot. I was an invite for him to sit here. We're doing a live show. We could have talked into the mic while I drove him up the road. A chance for a live interview, Parky style. When Parky met Nixon, Tricky Dicky. Yeah, it'd have been on that vein. I would have gave him a severe grilling. A Jeremy Paxman severe grilling. But he's bottled it. He did a B1 up the road in a Corpy bus. Listening to Zombie Nation on his phone, causing it. Ah, well, fair play. He was sitting there, a proud Tim going up the road, top of the league, and they're not even in it. Playing Zombie Nation to him, so I suppose I got to give him credit. Hard as nails, the bold Fenian, the unseen Fenian hand of the Celtic internet Bampot revolution. He still bumped me, but he went with a Glasgow Corpy bus. Don't even phone. You're banned. You're getting banned from my show. That's it. He's banned. The parrot is banned. He's phoned my show once too many. You're banned, 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 banned. Parrot will not be allowed on my show ever again until he phones back, and then all will be forgiven. Not that I'm hinting for him to phone in out. He's probably laid up in bed, chillaxing, trimaxing. The old Mellow Birds. Still not tried that Mellow Birds. Oof. No, I just... Mellow Birds. I need to try it, I need to go and get it. I've tried these Lena Martell pash. Feelings, oh do. It's one of the catchy tunes once you've got it in your head, isn't it? Feelings. I had feelings for Princess Diana when I was a kid. When she married into the royal family, she's a beautiful young lassie. I actually, to my shame, when I was in 1981, I was in Woodford, Suffolk, and it was very close to the timing of the alleged UFO sightings. I tried to marry the dates up, but whenever that wedding was, I was 6 miles from the army base in Woodbridge, is it Suffolk, yeah? And I was a wee boy, right, so I was at a party, a street party for the royal wedding, and it was in England, and I was on holiday, and as a wee boy, I was coalesced, I was fecking forced into it, sorry for the language. I was at a street party for their wedding. Right, but a year later, outside the Maryhill Community Halls, just after El Papa Pope John Paul had flew into this country, I think it was a couple of months later, outside the Maryhill Community Centre, old Chuck, Chuck Windsor came up with his beautiful blushing bride, and we're all waving. Yeah, I was waving it as well. Well, we're all waving the yellow and white papal flags. I don't know how I can put this across. Other than saying I tried to steal Princess Diana's watch. There you go, yep. As a little 10-year-old urchin, street urchin, fresh from the World Cup and the Pope's visit, I attempted to steal Princess Diana's watch. I think I should just finish the show now. I should finish my career, radio career, that's me. I attempted to steal the Queenie to Be's watch. I can't imagine much I attempted to steal. I just tried to find the wee, as I was shaking her hand, I shook her hand, you know, they clasped my hand and all that. I was looking for the wee thing, to see if I could do a wee Glasgow in the back pocket, out the way, melted down, smelted, 20 bags of sand, laughing all the way with the panini stickers and iron brew and rolls in fritter. It backfired, I never got anything. And that was me. My attempted theft of the crown jewels, or at least the crown watch. It never worked, not to be. So yeah, my claim to shame, 3 of them. Standing there when I was forced with my school to cheer old Chuckles and his blushing bride a year after they got married. Or the royal wedding party that I was forced to go through at the age of 9. Down with all the Sassenach folk. But hey, I'm sure out there all you crackpots have done something far crazier or worse than that. But I reminisce about that lovely lassie Diana because she had brought about, or was about to bring about, tremendous change in the way that landmines, this scurrilous, treacherous way of killing innocent people, mainly pastoral nomads in far-flung places of Afghanistan and various other places. People dying unnecessarily because of these landmines. 30 million in the world. What is it, 30 million landmines? Some extraordinary figure anyway. And she was doing something so historical. She was a brave lassie. She had faults, yeah. She was in a crazy relationship with probably one of the craziest families on the planet. She even spoke about her own death, how they would try to do it, predicted it by a car crash. But if she was taking on the capitalist system in its biggest market, or one of its biggest market, the 2 biggest markets out there are intoxicants and armaments. She challenged one of the biggest industries, armaments. No small thing. From someone so beautiful, spectacular and powerful with the media, she was assassinating the weapons manufacturers, and they assassinated her in the 13th pillar in the Pont Alma tunnel. And other evidence I bring to this, it was on Avenue of New York. If anybody knows any Freemasonic eschatology, New York, it was New Amsterdam, it became New York. There is 2 books of Masonic eschatology, we call it. There's the Scottish Rites and there's the York Rites. New York. York Rites of Masonic. Faith, belief, bullshittery, whatever you want to call it, whatever label we want to ascribe to that satanical, wretched ideology. Yeah, it's a little bit of silence there brought to our friends from the Noise Abatement Society. Thank you, them, for the good brothers. But Diana was killed by a Masonic cabal. Sad, really. But yeah, she took on the armaments, she took on the weapons manufacturers. and they killed her. When anybody tries to bring about real change, they kill you. Dr. David Kelly was killed. Men in suits were seen walking away when the real paramedics came to the scene. Why was he killed? Because he was able to say quite categorically that the weapons that he helped make with other specialists like him, that the weapons that he made were no longer a threat to us. They came with a period of so many years that it could be used, and then it became just, you could put it in the soil and feed it to the worms and it wouldn't kill them, because it was labelled as how we're able, and how this is how we're able to manage to bypass the international laws set up with trading weapons of mass destruction, chemical gases, which they were chemical gases. They classified it as agricultural fertilisers, and that was how they were able to scam it. With these artificial fertilisers, as they were gases, after a period of time, by storing them, they become, is it inert, is that the word to use? But it wouldn't poison a flea. So they killed him because his knowledge was damning, and he had the whole war machine sitting there waiting, and they couldn't have some little scientist there stopping them. Same way with Diana, they couldn't have someone as powerful as her stopping them from planting these landmines. Added to the fact that she was about to marry into the royal family. She was about to, she'd been kicked out of the royal family, lost her title, and she was about to marry a Muslim. She had powerful information at her hands. She had a powerful propaganda system at her hands. She had the media on side. She was all for changing the status quo, and they couldn't allow that, so that's why Diana was killed. There was also something, I can't even remember, I just need to go back and listen to that, but I was going to mention there. But you get what I'm saying. A conspiracy to kill people that's high up in this establishment. If this can be made possible, if this is a possibility, then all gloves are off for a stupid wee game of football. That's all it is, just a stupid game of football. If there's huge businesses where people are able to kill presidents, let's look at how President John F. Kennedy was killed. But before we do that, we're going to take a wee break. When we come back, we'll come back after the break. We're going to talk about John Fitzgerald Kennedy, who killed him, how he was killed. This is a conspiracy hour. You can call the show if you think you're hard enough, if you're a brain dead zombie, on 0203 290 1690. Come on, don't be shy, give it a try. Don't walk on by, brain dead zombie. Come ahead.
Well, it's a herbalist thing. Still Babylon and keep pressuring. Hey, no. It's a conspiracy. Police are inform and search for me. Yo, it's a conspiracy. Them say Rasta move armed and dangerously. Hey, it's a conspiracy. Police are inform and search for me. Yo, it's a conspiracy. Them say Rasta move armed and dangerously. Yo. Well, enough the detective them a send to me Hustlonians. Them a look me for some interrogation. Them a pressure all my friends and a look for evidence just to determine my location. Them a call me terrorists and use them satellite dish and try to seek out my ganja plantation. Just to man a herbalist, a man them most wanted this, they want to lock me down through my occupation. It's a conspiracy, police are inform and search for me. Yo, it's a conspiracy, them say Rasta move armed and dangerously. Hey, it's a conspiracy, police are inform and search for me. Yo, it's a conspiracy. Them say Rasta move armed and dangerously. Cause them a patrol the streets, see them there on every corner, they trying to hunt me down. And them a tap me phone and trace me cellular number, they trying to hunt me down. Because 24/7 them a investigate. Informer a look a little food for them plate. Police are inform about how the weed circulate. Them want know how me cash flow a get generate. Everything me possess, me see them want confiscate. But them kind of thing Rasta not tolerate. Me and them can't reason, now we just can't debate. Cause them can't stop the herbs, man a quake. Hey, hey, hey. It's a conspiracy. Police are inform and search for me. Yo, it's a conspiracy. Them say Rasta move armed and dangerously. Hey, it's a conspiracy. Police are inform and search for me. Yo, it's a conspiracy. Them say Rasta move armed and dangerously. Rise up today and see my face there on the front page. Sure. Them use them propaganda to tell the world I am a criminal. Hey. So I got to lay low. They make me have to keep a thing under my pillow. Yo, everything settled. The whole of them be ready long time. It's a conspiracy. Police are inform and search for me. Yo, it's a conspiracy. And them say Rasta move armed and dangerously. Hey, it's a conspiracy. Police are inform and search for me. Yo, it's a conspiracy. And them say Rasta move armed and dangerously. It's a conspiracy. Wow. You know, listen up. I say, it's a conspiracy. Tell the Babylon star fresh, everybody listen, you know. Sure. How do you mean?
Yes, welcome. Thanks for joining us back. Northeast Boy. The name of the doctor was Dr. Khan. Dr. Khan was the name of the doctor that Diana was meant to have a liaison with, I believe. Yeah, Dr. Khan. Once again, a little bit of silence brought to us by our friends in the Noise Abatement Society. If you want to step in and fill in that gap in the market, feel free to fill that gap in the market. If you know any crackpots out there wanting to sponsor the show, we're looking for show sponsors. We're looking for station sponsors. We're going to be taking adverts out in the mainstream media. We're going to be publicising it. And as usual, we're going to be having live guests on. We're going to be having live panel, a mixture of different people at different times. There's no limit to the possibilities. We're only limited by our lack of imagination and creativity. And I've always been had a one for having a vivid imagination. That's why I skipped school, dodged classes, took drugs when I was younger. I wanted to see the world in a different way instead of being force-fed, regurgitated, manufactured, spun out bullshit. No other way to put it, sorry for the language. If they think I'm going to be force-fed their bullshit propaganda and eat it and believe it, away and fling shite at the moon. Away and grab your own feces in a little jar and go and drink it if you think that I'm going to eat your shite anymore. And that is what we as Celtic fans should be saying to the people in the main media. who have been forcing us their shite for years. Go and eat your, swallow your own piss and shite, because we ain't doing it anymore. Tune in, drop out, listen to Hail Hail Media, Free Jelly Boy, Celtic Dreams. There was a brother on Twitter, Pale and Morbid, said he was going to start his own show. Do your own show. This is a message I'm putting out to everybody. Don't leave it for a crackpot like me. Do your own show. Start off talking. If you've got any ideas, anything you want to talk about, make it a local issue. Talk about conspiracies. If anybody wants my numbers that I've set up here, if anybody wants my access to it, they can have my show. I'll give you my numbers, the Skype, whatever. If anybody, as long as I'm not wanting any crackpot off the street, as long as you're a proven Tim and can be trusted, then I'm more than happy to share the same platform and get something to spout out that's for the common good, to help the community, the Celtic community in Scotland and Ireland, the diaspora from Las Vegas to Toronto to Melbourne, Sydney, and every crackpot place in between. The message has to be spread about Celtic. It's getting through. Last week I was given airtime on Radio 5 Live on the last day of the year, and they asked people to phone in with their moments. I phoned in with covering two bases, thinking I want to get on here to make a point about Celtic and Barcelona, which I did, and it's available to listen back to a few shows ago. I went on there and I put 2 points across. One, Celtic related, the Barca. Very briefly, very curtly, very quickly I moved on to another point. I actually lied, said I was at the Tour de France. I was at Bradley Wiggins, and that was a magnificent feat, Britishness, blah de blah. And then when they phoned back after half an hour, they said to me, what's your comments on the Barcelona? Have you got to say on that, the Celtic Barcelona? I say, well, it was a David and Goliath, this, that, blah, blah. Brilliant. Please say that. Put you on air. We're cooking me gas. They put me on with that one. Never even mentioned the Bradley Wiggins stuff, but they had covered it to death. So, but they wanted this chat about the Celtic on their programme. And it's something now that, if you look at it, that we've been released from. We no longer have the ugly sisters from the south side to hold us back, and people say, oh look, they're the ugly sisters. We're not the ugly sisters. They are with their split Jekyll and Hyde personality. They're not even a Jekyll and Hyde personality, where they put the pretense on of being sane and sensible. Anyway, I'm turning it into it. Listen. Anyway, what I was going to... I'm tying it in with lies and deceit from the media, and how the alternative media has now risen. We have to seek to challenge it by doing our own shows, and then having our own discussions and formulating fresh ideas and opinions about how to convert and get other people to tune in and drop out from a racist, fascist, bigoted system that has got the seeds of self-destruction manufactured into the minds of every single person. And this seed of self-destruction that they've set everybody upon, this nihilist viewpoint, program doctrine of brainwashing people, has to be stopped. And it's just a simple way of stopping it by saying, seek the truth, reject falsehood, for falsehood is always vanishing, and being having the confidence to stand up and challenge it. And so then we look and we talk about John F. Kennedy, how he was killed and who killed him and who had the wherewithal to do it. People say, oh, it was the mafia. They helped in the cover-up part. People say it was the FBI. Whoever had enough on Kennedy's liaisons with Marilyn Monroe, and other girls, that they could have brought him down that way by exposing all his lies and his sexual relations. They never killed him. They helped in the cover-up, and maybe certain aspects of the assassination. Maybe Jack Ruby was an FBI informer, an FBI man. Maybe that was the part the FBI played in the cover-up. But undoubtedly, the roots and the origin of the assassination of John Fitzgerald Kennedy lie in two people alone, and that is John and Alan Dulles. One was head of the State Department, one was head of the OSS. Do you know who the OSS was? Well, what was it, the State Department? The OSS was the Office of Strategic Service, which incorporated with the Gellan spy organisation became known as the CIA. They were known as a de facto world government, one with the head of the CIA, the other one the head of the State Department. Now, the Bay of Pigs fiasco, where Kennedy, when he was a new president, was put the plans in front of him by the spooks that this is what they wanted to do to get rid of Castro. Now, Kennedy was already at an advanced stage of discussion with Castro. And Castro, because the way it was put out by, maybe what you call them at the time, it wasn't identified that they were right-wing neocons, but these warmongers wanted to go in and take out Castro because the Dulles brothers were part of, they were New York lawyers. Where there's this thing, always come back to lawyers. Old Barack Shameless Obama, another lawyer. But they were also directors of a fruit importing company that was ousted when the Cubans nationalised their industry. But the Cubans were accused of being with the communists and loosely tied to them. But they had, at the time, they weren't completely tied and allied to the communists, because they realised that only 90 miles away their biggest trading partner would always be the United States of America, and it wanted to do business. They didn't want to exclusively turn that off. It was the Americans' attitude that took it down this way. Anyway, I'm going off on many tangents here in my head because I'd already stopped presenting myself at one. But to keep on what I'm trying to explain, that the Dulles brothers, being directors of the fruit importing company that was given a severe kick in the hormones when it was kicked out of Cuba. Obviously, everything's all connected there, so you've got the State Department that one of the Dulles worked with, you get the CIA, they're both directors, they're part shareholders in the fruit importing company from Cuba. So they want rid of Castro and Guevara and the rest, so they get these band of mercenaries who they train up ready to go in and fight for them. To what's happening in various places in the world today. So they get this bunch of brigands on side, and the plan is, and it's put in front of Kennedy, and Kennedy blackballed it and said, no, we're not doing it. They said, right, fuck you, Ivy League president, or whatever he was. We'll do it our way because it's our game, it's our ball game, it's our system. We'll do it our way. You're not telling us anything. They starts off with the Cuban mercenaries. They give the president a call, or however it's done, who knows, and say, look, we need their support, we need the full backing of the American military. Kennedy turns around and says, you're going ahead with it, still no. So these Cuban mercenaries were going to get routed because the plan was they could only just start it off, they couldn't do anything really. They would get routed unless the Americans stepped in. They wanted that as an excuse to set up the coup d'etat. Oh, Castro's killing his own people, his own innocent people. We need to save them. It's a humanitarian disaster. So the same people they put in to get slaughtered, they openly welcome them to get slaughtered so they could get in and say, oh look, we're here to defend, look what they're doing. Kennedy stopped that at the last minute. As part of the investigation, can't remember what one was John Dulles, Alan Dulles, but the one there, one of them gets sacked, right? So the one that was head of the CIA, part of the OSS, who'd been part of it for over 20 years, or way back longer, to the early 60s, fast forward, so about 20 years, one of the Dulles brothers was sacked over this Bay of Pigs affair by Kennedy. Kennedy, this new president had only been in the door, had sacked someone, a war veteran, had sacked him in public. Well, if anyone ever gets killed, the police, if they do their job right, would ask the questions, who stood to benefit or who had the motive. So Kennedy sacked one of the Dulles brothers who was part of the CIA. George Bush Sr. was a high member operative of the CIA who happened to be in Dallas at the time of the killing. Hoover, who worked for the FBI and had a directorship, I think it was at Pepsi at the time, was in Dallas at the time. Jack Ruby, who died months or whatever with cancer, was an FBI hitman who was paid to take out Oswald, who was the patsy, who was made up to be the killer, when it was stated by people in his gun club that he was at that he couldn't hit a coo's arse with a banjo, more or less. And for anybody, even a trained expert marksman, to pull that off would have been practically nigh on impossible. And when you look at the Spreaker film, where if you punch someone in the face, your head goes back the way, boom, back, follow your head back, look at the Bill Hicks video, moment of impact, boom, trigger, head back, Spreaker film, head back, boom. That was a front-on shot. It wasn't a back shot from where it would have been, because at the time of that shot, Oswald, with his gun, he would have been hanging out backwards with a fucking crow holding on to his leg, and the bullet would be getting bounced off a tree and coming back off the arse of a copper's badge and then ricocheting into the magic bullet and blowing out Kennedy's brain, God rest him. It didn't happen like that, people. The Warren Commission was nonsense. It was BS. These lies have to be exposed. A president was killed. Why was he killed? Was it over the Bay of Pigs? Was it over the sacking of the Dulles? Is this too simple an explanation? Or, as other people have pointed out, he was moved to try and change the money system. This money system of interest, of riba, which had been decried by three of the monotheistic religions, Judaism, Christianity, Islam, as being a problem, and that we should abhor it and not use it, unless we want to create an unstable, unjust society like we've got just now. That's the reason why it was declared not to be fit for purpose, shall we use that phrase. So using interest against your fellow human beings is not fit for purpose. Yet the whole capitalist system is based on this lie, this fallacy. And this fallacy and lie has to be challenged. And I challenge the bankers, the greedy illegitimi, from the alpha to the omega, the beginning to the end of the lies and the deceits. We have to challenge decisions like yesterday in Scottish football. We have to expose it. We don't have, even although we may be top of the league playing Juventus, we should not take our eye off the ball for 1 nanosecond. That the cheating referee problem in this country still has to be addressed. Hugh Dallas's son is working in Scottish football. Does that not say it all? Hugh Dallas is working for UEFA. Does that not say it all? When are we going to get proper transparency in Scottish football? When are we going to have referees who have no allegiance to the clubs? The trial that happened last season, scrap. Scottish football should be declared not fit for purpose. The referees, the institutions, not fit for purpose. Sack each and every one of them. Bye-bye. Gone. Out. Kaboot. Go. Done. Not fit for purpose. Why keep on doing it, using them? It's a definition of madness. Going over the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result. Are we mad as Celtic fans? Well, we must be, if we don't change the refereeing structure in the SFA. Get your finger out, Mr. Lawwell, and do something about these cheats. There's a tie-in I'm making from Diana to John F. Kennedy to Scottish referees. And the tie-in I'm making is the Masonic cabal. And under that Point Alma tunnel on Avenue of New York, there is an eternal flame, another Masonic sign, a replica of the flame of the Statue of Liberty, a replica, the Alma Tunnel, Pillar 13, a proven MI6 operative who worked as a paparazzi cameraman, mysteriously killed, died of a heart attack or carbon monoxide poison, something, I can't remember exactly. Killed. He happened to be the head suspect, according to Aunt Mohammed Al-Fayed. John F. Kennedy, head suspect, as I pointed out, one of the Dulles brothers. Or, what I would like to say, is maybe it was nothing to do with the OSS, maybe it was to do with the real people on the block, the real power on the block, the people controlling the OSS, the CIA, the main money lenders, the Rothschild banking cabalists. That's the bottom line, who they all work for. All these services always trace the money supply back to source. So who controls the money? Hello? It's the Rothschild banking cabal. It's time people woke up to this reality. The Rothschild banking cabal controls the planet. Come on, people. Wake up. Hello? So the Rothschild banking cabal realised, like at all times when it realises, we've got someone out of control who's going to blow the whole damn shooting match. Let's kaboom him. Let's kill him. Let's make her hit the 13th pillar. Let's kill Dr. David Kelly by slitting his wrists in a way that he would die if it was only possible, if it was underwater, for the blood to pour out that way. Let's kill a scientist who had the power to be able to stop an illegal war where 1 million people die, where $1 trillion of oil revenue disappears up the Khyber Pass into the hands of the real terrorists, the Bush and Cheney doctrine, the White House cabal, working in orders on behalf of the Rothschild banking cabal, who fund and back every side of every war, of every revolution, of every boom and bust. It's all out there, people. The truth is there. If only you seek the truth and reject falsehood. You too can be a mad, conspiratorial crackpot like me. Yes, sir, indeed. I'm wired to the moon. I believe in little green men. I believe in aliens. Nah, I don't really. But hey, suppose just like David Icke. If he can get away with it, then I'll go along with that as well. I'm just like David Icke. I'm a crackpot McDougall who's he's full of wee motors. I'm away with the ferries tripped out my dial. But investigation has got to be done into the Rothschild banking cabal. And since this hour has now went into a second hour, I think we should take a wee break, allow me to gather my thoughts, and if you want to call me, give me a call. But like I said at the start, I'm just waiting for the shop to open with the rolls and go and get my wee breakfast, retire up the road, and take the day off, spend it with the family. Too much hard work of recent days. It's now January. It's now a new dawn. I'm Thomas J. Clark. This is Glasgow Radio Online No More, RIP. Only for Black Ops will be Glasgow Radio Online, or any time I slip up by no remembering that we are now Celtic Community Radio, and not as a flippant gesture, or I will make it flippant as, old co Tommy Gold, that's old co and that. But please, I cannot explain in any way possible just now. For those who believe, no explanation is necessary. For those who don't, no explanation is possible. At this stage, I can't give a full and frank explanation. But let's say I'm not doing it in a flippant way. But we're calling ourselves Thomas J. Clark from Celtic Community Radio. It's a professional way I seek to take it. I don't want to be swearing and cussing. We ain't a violent radio station. This is radical pacifist, crackpot McDougall, half-wit Fangita. We're putting the fun into fundamentalism. Try to put the fun into fundamentalism with a serious message, with a serious point. And during the daytime hours, I can phone anybody. We've got people here helping me out. Phone whoever. If you've got a number for anybody, pass it over. It will be with total discretion. They can waterboard me within an inch of my life to Guantanamo Bay and anywhere in between. I will never divulge it. And I will be courteous and polite to whoever it is. That's the way we roll here on Celtic Community Radio. And we want to talk to Celtic people out there from across the planet. And if there's Rangers fans out there, then yes, I'm willing to talk to them if they come on with a sensible tongue in their head. Otherwise, they get the Hugh Keevins treatment and cut off. So without further ado, the Rothschild banking cabal, the tie-in that I'm making is that, is it possible, and I'll leave this question as we go into the break, is it possible that the referees are in fact paid up members of the Rothschild Freemasonic banking cabal? Because Nathaniel Rothschild, Mayor Amschel Bauer Rothschild, and his 5 sons who went across from Frankfurt, Paris, Amsterdam, London, maybe they were just brain-dead zombies who liked the old Sevco. And that's why we get so many bad referees. They're actually Rothschild banking cabal referees operating in Scotland, who are reptilian aliens from another planet, who just give the most crazy effect-off decisions, sorry for the language, of allowing a penalty that wasn't even a penalty, and instead of being on the 12 yards from the penalty spot to the goal, gave him an extra yard benefit. It's okay, it wasn't even a penalty, but don't take it from there, take it from even closer. Is that the level that Scottish football has to descend to? Because they know they can't beat us. They had to move it forward the yard, and they met the best keeper on the planet, and he still saved it. God bless you, Fraser. Big Sammy, up the pitch, cross, Gary Hooper, pick it out, Rothschild banking cabal. Shove it right up your coolers. Your team's dead. Your refereeing banking cabal has just been shafted once again by Glasgow's green and white. Let's listen to the Rothschild banking cabal and we'll come back. And it looks like we're in overtime. Yeah, we're in overtime. We're carrying it on for the Crackpot Brigade. Tell 10 to tell 10. I'm off my nut and I'm talking to all you fanjeaters who are even more off your nut. But hey, the revolution of internet bampot continues here and we'll be back.
This was broadly the argument of the early Zionists like Theodor Herzl, who came to believe that the only solution to the Jewish question was indeed for the Jews to leave Europe and found their own Judenstaat. Herzl made a succession of attempts to win the support of the Rothschilds in the belief that they were about to liquidate their vast capital as a response to anti-Semitic attacks. But his 66-page address to the Rothschild Family Council was never sent, as he concluded from an initial rebuff that they were vulgar, contemptuous, egotistical people. The Rothschilds, he later declared, were a national misfortune for the Jews. He even threatened to liquidate them or to wage a barbaric campaign against them if they opposed him. If a Zionist could use such language in the 1890s, it is perhaps not surprising that the radical anti-Semites who flourished in the defeated states of Central Europe after the First World War did so too. A good example is Dietrich Eckart's address to all working people of 1919. The House of Rothschild owns 40 billion. They only need to administer their wealth to see that it is nicely placed. They do not need to work, at least not what we understand by work. But who provides them and their like with such an enormous amount of money? Who does this? You do it. Nobody but you. That's right. It is your money, hard-earned through care and sorrow, which is drawn as if magnetically into the coffers of these insatiable people. Another early National Socialist who cited the Rothschilds as examples of the Jewish problem he pledged to solve was Adolf Hitler. In an article in the Nazi Völkische Beobachter in May 1921, for example, he named them as one of a group of Jewish capitalists who controlled the socialist press. On at least two occasions in 1922, he gave speeches in which he referred to the significant difference between the achievements of a man like Alfred Krupp, who has bequeathed an immense national achievement through his indefatigable work as an innovator, and the rapacity of a Rothschild who financed wars and revolutions and brought the peoples into interest servitude through loans. The television preacher and Republican politician Pat Robertson's book, The New World Order, published in 1991, states that the Rothschilds were polluted by the occultism of illuminated Freemasonry, and that Paul Warburg, architect of the Federal Reserve System, was a Rothschild agent. From a completely different political milieu, Khalid Mohammed, a former assistant to Louis Farrakhan, the leader of the radical African-American organization Nation of Islam, has repeated the suggestion that the Rothschilds financed Hitler and aided his anti-Semitic policies. A cursory search of the internet reveals a plethora of conspiracy theories. The Rothschilds arranged the murder of President Lincoln, as his post-war policies would have wrecked their commodity speculations. The Rothschilds financed the rise of Hitler as a bulwark against the Soviet Union. The Rothschilds are interwoven with the Catholic Church and jointly with the traditional mafia and the American CIA, which was pro-Nazi. They are the hidden power which controls other well-known banks, such as Warburg's, Schroeder's, and Lazar's, as well as being behind American financiers such as J.P. Morgan, the Rockefellers, Kuhn, Loeb and Company, the Spires and the Lehmans, not to mention the Bank of England and the Federal Reserve System, an obvious Rothschild front. Through this network of global power, they have been responsible for, among other things, the Boer War, the creation of Israel to control the oil of the Middle East, the Russian Revolution, a coup on Russia by the United States financial arm largely controlled by the Rothschilds, and even the floating of the dollar by President Nixon. Today, they and their associates in the Conservative Party and the press are plotting to monopolize the world's energy supplies. hence their interest in electricity, coal, and gas privatization. It might be thought that a serious banking history should scrupulously avoid reference to this kind of nonsense. Yet it is impossible to appreciate the need for a scholarly history of the subject if one blithely pretends such myths do not exist.
A blinding flash of white light lit up the sky over Gaza tonight. People running for cover, not knowing whether they're dead or alive. They came with their tanks and their planes, with ravaging fiery flames, and nothing remains, just a voice rising up in the smoky haze. We will not go down in the night without a fight. You can burn up our mosques and our homes and our schools, but our spirit will never die. We will not go down in Gaza tonight.
Yes, thanks for joining us back. You're in tune, Tommy. Gold is no more. This is Thomas J. Clark. This is Thomas J. Clark broadcasting to planet Earth. Come in, Mark Colin Austin. Come in, Austin. This is a Crackpot McDougall production. Radical pacifist online. We used to be. We've changed over. We've had old co, new co. We've had more new old co's and new co's that you can shake a stick at. We've been Radical Pacifist online, we've been Fangita Radio online, we've been Glasgow Radio online. We have now liquidated all that nonsense and we're now fully liquidised, jelly and ice cream milkshaked up to the mast, with flannel juice and gibberish always. We're now Celtic Community Radio. Celtic Community Radio, yes, you can hear that I'm a highly trained flannel juice and gibberish expert, that I can spout the most outrageous flannel juice and gibberish that you can shake a stick at. But hey, it's because I've been highly trained by the Zionist media. I've been trained by Zionist intellectuals on how to sell. I've studied in Edward Bernays' mind programme. I've learned from intellectuals who have told us about psychopath and the psychopath control grid from the bold Henrik Clarkson. I've been educated in Black Ops from the bold Parrot. All people you know, and I've been on this show. I've also learned in past days from Noam Chomsky, Malcolm X, from Gandhi to Martin Luther King. The radical pacifist way. Increase the peace, fight the power. If you become an instrument of violence, you play into the hands of the real terrorist on the block, the Rothschild banking cabal. And the tie-in that I'm making, you might think it's ludicrous and crazy when I say the Rothschild banking cabal is controlling Scottish football. You better Adam and Eve it. Is that ludicrous? Yeah. Am I saying it for effect? Well, as I said, I've been trained in the best media circles, or the worst, should we say. But trying to turn it round and use our own crackpottery on them. Yes, we're paranoid, delusional crackpots, aren't we? We're all the same. That was a label they used in Celtic fans. You're just paranoid. You're just paranoid Celtic fans. And then when the game's a bust for that phrase, you're internet bampots. And not once, although we're all jokingly and fun here, not once, and this is where it gets serious, where all the deaths happen in the streets of poor innocents wearing a Celtic scarf, throat slashed like Mark Scott in the Brigton. Not once did the compliant media speak out in the rancid hatred and bigotry emanating from the shitehouse. Not once was there condemnation for the horrible bitterness and evil songs that came from the clergy. Why was that? And right, the game's a bogey. We're out of here. I'll phone you back and we'll come back on the show in 10 minutes.